What's going on, everybody? What is going on? Welcome back to the Torian Rain Reloaded channel. And as you can see, I am not alone today. I am here with two very, very important individuals, two people who I have not had on the channel in quite some time. And I know y'all glad to see them, but two people that y'all are very familiar with. And these are two individuals I have so much respect for. You know, they have their own individual channels, but they also have their own combined channel for the Culture Podcast, which, by the way, if you're not subscribed to it, what are you doing? Like, really, what are you doing? But today I have with me all the way, well, he's via Chicago, but, you know, in another location currently at the moment. We got Afro Elite.
How y'all doing? Peace to the family. How y'all doing?
And in my neighbor, like literally in my backyard neighbor, not literally my backyard, but y'all know what I mean. We got ZZ. What's going on?
Peace, peace, peace. I be forgetting you live up here. Damn, I'm like, you live here. That's great.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring them on here today because it was a post that I saw on Twitter that I was tagged in that I wanted to go over. And I said I could have went over this by myself, but I said the post was so lengthy. Like literally, when I bookmarked it, I was scrolling. And it was such a long post that to ensure that I had the post, I screenshotted it, but I had to screenshot it in 3 parts. That's how long the post is, because this person has a blue check that they purchased. And you know, on Twitter, if you have a blue check, you can post way past the 140 character limit. So this person took full advantage. They probably typed 1,000 characters. They wrote like a whole novel in one post. And it came from a south of the Borderian. Now, for those of y'all who are not familiar with my lingo, south of the Borderian is my nickname for the Latina and the Latino or the Hispanic, because they change their names up so often. I said, you know what? I'm going to just go with south of the Borderian. And it just kind of stuck. Now, here's the interesting part. ZZ and Afro have no clue what the post is. So this is going to be like, they're going to look at it and we're going to go through this post line by line. And when I tell you, it's so hilarious, because when I was looking at the responses, even people from this person's community was like, girl, shut up. Stop it. Like literally, that's how people was responding to it, even from in her own community. So I'm going to start up and, start bringing up these posts so y'all can see for yourself what they're saying. And we're going to go through it line by line. So here's the first part right here. And it's coming from this person named Spicy Canella. And she posted it on February 11th, 2026. The first line says, as a Hispanic Latina, I feel we have been given crumbs our whole lives in America. ZZ's face is frightened. That's why I knew I had to bring y'all up here, because I already know where this is headed. I know where this is headed. Then she comes and says, "We've been here the whole time. Have you?" This is, yet I had no choice growing up but to connect with Black and white culture. Okay. Wait, before we go any further, do y'all have anything to say just on that line alone? Because like I said, the whole time, that's the part right there that got me. I said, you've been here the whole time. What's the fine whole time?
Yeah. What the fuck does that mean? What? I'm just confused. We are sure it's not a body count. It's not AI. This is not,
no, this is a real person.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, because the level of entitlement is befitting for most of these controversial intents out there.
And I checked it too, because on Twitter now they have a feature where you can click to see where their account was created in. It did say the United States.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, for you to be complaining and your family chose to come over here, I'm just confused. If you getting crumbs over here, what the fuck was you getting in your homeland? I'm just confused. Why'd you come over? Why would your family come over here just for crumbs? What was you getting back then? Was you getting what's less than the crumb? I'm not sure. So I'm not understanding the contradictions here. Then you're saying I didn't have a choice but to grow up with white and Black culture. Yeah, you did. Most of these people don't grow up. First of all, white and Black is a stretch, because Black, y'all don't grow up. Y'all grow up exploiting Black culture. You grow up cosplaying in black culture, but y'all don't grow up connecting with black culture. Y'all don't connect with black people. How the fuck you gonna connect with our culture? Y'all don't. And you don't connect with white culture. There's ain't no such thing. You are submitting to white supremacy because that's what white culture is. White supremacy. Yes, you guys love to lay up under white zaddy. You love to get your crumbs from white zaddy. But you don't connect. That's not, you have very much have a choice to still stay within your own culture, which y'all actually do, whether that's staying in your damn homeland or just creating little, little Mexico in California or little Mexico in New York. Y'all niggas stay together and you know what part of Spanish Harlem, you know where these niggas be at. They congregate, they make their own churches and stores and connect with each other. They don't. You're not going into Spanish neighborhoods and seeing a white and black person every other neighbor. That's not it. It's Hispanics usually going down the block, and it's some black people because they in a black neighborhood or right beside a black neighborhood. But they're still all Hispanics, all congregating in one space. So this bullshit that they had to connect with another culture is nonsense. That's not even true. Whether you want to look at it in that degree or the degree that you could have just stayed your ass back home and then you wouldn't have to connect with nothing but your people. So I mean, I don't know. The level of entitlement is crazy here. This is insane. Am I supposed to feel bad? I'm confused.
Avery, you want to add on to that?
Yeah, I definitely do. I definitely do. When the whole, I feel like we've been getting crumbs, and then to say I've been forced to live with black culture gives the implication, okay, that black people are getting something that we don't deserve. So what I want to understand is, what does she feel as a Hispanic that she is not getting, that she deserves, that black people are getting that we don't deserve? Okay. The way they're talking as if there's some type of black privilege and that there's some type of struggle that they've been going through in this country the whole time, according to her, that has not been recognized, that's been equivalent to black people. Okay. She's made it seem like Hispanics have been underrepresented and under black people, and there's some type of American privilege that is bestowed upon black people. All right. So that's the thing. What are you all getting, that the crumbs that you're getting? Because you gave the implication that we're getting more than crumbs. What are you getting that you feel like you deserve more of, honestly? Because you're in your own neighborhoods. A lot of you all speak you go to LA, you go to some neighborhoods, they don't speak English at all. You need a translator in America. Okay, this is not Mexico. This is not Venezuela. This is not um, uh, anywhere in the southern border. Okay, you would need a American English translator or just translator to translate in some of their neighborhoods. Okay, they have their own enclaves of everything. Okay, where it's all almost like their own mini Mexico. So to say you were forced, you had no choice but to connect with black culture. No, no. You connect with black culture because, of course, we have the most attractive culture. All right. And you were able to, like Zizi said, exploit that. Nobody forced a culture on you. All right.
Exactly.
Y'all have very much been gatekeeping your culture. It's just your culture don't pop like that. That's what it is. Your culture doesn't shine through. That's what it is. Your culture is not as attractive to everybody in the globe, and apparently to you. If you're
Yeah,
saying
because
you felt forced to connect with us, apparently your culture ain't popping like that to you.
Right.
and also to add into what you were just saying, the fact that they said they had no choice but grow up and connect with black or white culture is interesting because it's like, didn't you have a culture before you got over here? So what it sounds like to me is you dumped your culture to latch on to the culture that was, and this is why I always tell people that foundational black Americans, we just are the Lowry seasoning salt of the globe. I mean, it just is what it is. We just have it. You know how they used to say the it factor? That's what we have. It just is what it just is what it is. I mean, we can't help it. It just oozes out of our pores. So I think it's because it's so natural. We don't have to force our culture onto everybody. It just like it gravitates. It's like metal to magnet or bees to honey. That's what it is. We just got it. I mean, we can't help it. Hey, I, and it shows. I mean, for years, for decades, for centuries, it shows. So it goes on to the, and now here's the part right here where it gets really contradictory. And they did it literally line by back to back. They said, why? Because our people were only seen on Telemundo and Univision speaking Spanish. At least you had two networks that was representing you. You have, and to my knowledge, isn't Telemundo and Univision like still around?
Yeah.
And it didn't become tainted like BET did. It's still very much intact. Then it goes on and says, we didn't grow up watching Hispanics or Latinos on TV or hearing their music on local radio. You just said you had Telemundo and Univision speaking Spanish. What in the world? That's why I said those two lines contradicted each other. And then they contradict themselves again on the third one when they said, we grew up on Full House and Family Matters, idolizing white and black artists. You chose to watch Full House and Family Matters, just like most of us who grew up in the 90s.
Yeah.
Chose to watch Family Matters in Full House.
See, and the thing is that I don't want to cut you off.
You go ahead.
But the thing is that, like you're saying, these are choices. You know, first off, you don't have to watch TV at all. To be very honest, you don't got to watch TV. Full House and Family Matters. I don't know where the white people you idolized in those TV shows were, but if you were watching our shows, that's because you chose to. If you had two complete networks specifically catered to and dedicated to you and your culture, speaking your language and all of that, that's uniquely for you, and you chose Full House or chose Family Matter, that means that you enjoyed that more. So what you're upset about, this is jealousy. You're upset that Telemundo and Univision or whatever show, y'all had George Lopez now. Let's not forget. Come on.
Yeah, they did.
Y'all did have
And George Lopez wasn't even on Telemundo or Univision. It was on a big network.
It was on Nick at Night.
It was like, yeah.
It was Hispanics on big TV. Like, don't let the fact that you're doing that means that you're just really envious of the fact that y'all don't have like a Martin. Okay, y'all don't have a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air type of show. Y'all don't have an iconic show that everybody knows the theme song of or anything like that. The closest you have is George Lopez.
Yeah.
Okay, but we have pretty much a whole era of different sitcoms.
That's a fact.
Okay,
You want to add
because you
into
kind of
that?
contradicting yourself too frequently in one single tweet.
You want to add into that, Azizi? Oh, the contradictions go and get worse in the second.
I could imagine. I mean, honestly, she started off contradicting herself.
Yeah.
Girl, you hypocrite. So I don't know what the hell. None of this shit's right.
That's why I said I needed y'all up here today as my co-pilots. I mean, I could have easily did this by myself, but I said we're gonna have some fun with this. We're gonna have some fun with this.
Girl, you delusional.
All right, so the next part, she says, only artist our culture was able to really relate to was Selena. Selena and her family, the Quintanillas, and which, by the way, she misspelled their name because that's not how you spell their last name. And she said, represented us well. I will say that Selena was a big representation for that community at that time, especially at a time when I was doing my research. It was hard for a Mexican American woman to break out in that scene because she was a woman. That was a hugely male dominated scene, and she broke through that ceiling. She was like their Beyonce before Beyonce was Beyonce. Mm-hmm. But then what happened was y'all didn't have anybody to follow up behind her like that. Y'all, it's like, who was your follow up after that? You know, it took J-Lo playing her in order for her to get herself, but you know, that's a whole nother story. But where was the next big person to follow up behind her, or where were they at the time when she was out? So it's like y'all hitched y'all wagon to her and only her. And then unfortunately she, you know, lost her life in that very tragic way. And then there was no one else to follow her. When it comes to our culture, we had so many people that was out all at one time. I mean, everywhere, especially like, you know, you had your era of your James Browns and your Jackie Wilsons and your Sam Cooks and, you know, your Earth, Wind and Fires, the Commodores, the stylists and so much and so forth. Then, of course, you know, you had Jackson 5. Then they became the Jacksons. Then you had Michael Jackson, Prince, Patti LaBelle, Aretha Franklin, and that all these people that's from that time. And then you spiral over into the 90s. Then in the 80s, you have your Whitney Houstons. You had, I'll just throw Mariah Carey in there. You had Mary J. Blige. You had Boyz II Men, Jodeci. I mean, I'm naming off people that many people will know right off the bat. And when I'm dropping these names, they'll know immediately who they are, what they look like, and hit songs, even the deep cuts.
Yeah. And see, here's the thing. This is why I'm like, I'm not. It's kind of hilariously, just kind of ironic, I guess, at this point, because it's not. You're not from here, so you don't have a place. Like I know a lot of people have been brainwashed with this whole melting pot BS and stuff like this, but we don't necessarily need representation for everyone, okay? And this is coming from a Black American who has been heavily underrepresented, okay? But definitely not for a Hispanic. I'm sorry, you're talking about, even she's going back to Selena, so we talking about 90s, okay? Why would there be a plethora of Hispanic artists or celebrities when you look at the numbers? How many Hispanics were here? How many of y'all need to be represented? Y'all are not seeing our numbers. You're not seeing the dominant society numbers. So why are we pressed to push you at the forefront? And this is with even what y'all have in multiple celebrities. Y'all got Big Pun, you got damn J-Lo, y'all got a couple of them. Y'all had a couple of them. But why would there need to be why do we need a Beyonce equivalent, a Hispanic but Beyonce equivalent? We don't need that. We don't need a Hispanic Denzel. We don't need a Hispanic Robert Downey Jr. We don't need a Hispanic Tom Cruise. Like, this is the problem. You need to look for that in your homeland. You're saying, oh, Selena represented as well, and that was fine, and that's what we do. Okay, well, you should have looked for another Selena in Mexico, in your homeland. You shouldn't be looking for that here.
And to add on to that, ZZ, to what you just said, they couldn't even really do it with Selena because Selena was born in America. She was born in Texas.
Right, and she was born in Texas. That's a fact.
She was born in Texas, so technically she is technically an American. So they couldn't even use her as an example because it's not like she was born in Mexico and she migrated to Texas. She was born in Texas. She's technically an American. She's culturally Mexican, but nationality wise she's American. But she's technically an American.
Yeah, because she couldn't even speak Spanish like that, right?
She had to learn how to speak. She had to learn how to sing. First off, she had to learn how to sing Spanish before she learned how to speak it.
Right, exactly.
Because if you look at the movie, singing Spanish and speaking it are two different lanes. Like they said, it's harder to speak it than it is to sing it.
Right.
But your Spanish wasn't even her first language. It was English.
Yeah, so it's like, honestly, there's a lack of gratitude here. At least Selena, she was American, she was Mexican-American, but she still represented y'all. She learned how to speak fucking Spanish for y'all. She could have did English-speaking songs. She could have been like J-Lo and hopped on an R&B beat or some shit like that. She still chose to represent y'all, so be grateful for that. But that doesn't mean for a level in time. That doesn't mean that you deserve any damn thing else. You deserve that shit where you come from. Build your people up there. But this is not that. I'm sorry.
And look what you just said when you mentioned like J-Lo and even Big Pun and even that Culture Vulture Fat Joe. Look at the music that they did to break out. Big Pun was a rapper. Fat Joe was a rapper. J-Lo, she hopped on R&B and hip hop beats. That is not culturally foundational to their lineage, but that's culturally foundational to our lineage.
Yeah.
Afro, you want to jump in there?
Yeah. Do you remember when me, you, and Full Chaos, when we did a podcast episode and we were talking about the movie Blue Beetle?
Yes.
And we gave our predictions.
That shit was gross.
And Blue Beetle is he's a DC character, superhero. He's Hispanic, okay, and it was the cast was pretty much Hispanic cast and all of that stuff. It was really the Hispanic DC version of Black Panther. And remember what we were saying, like, remember when Black Panther first came out in 2018, and the Hispanics are like, "Where's our Black Panther? When do we get a Black Panther? When do we get a Black Panther?" And then later on, Blue Beetle came out, and it was kind of, this is their Black Panther. And you did not see Hispanics do nothing. You didn't see them make no noise about it. You didn't see no Hispanic influence like, hey, we got to show up and show out. We got to really show out for this movie. You don't see that, okay? They didn't make that movie a big hit like we made Black Panther a big hit, okay? We culturally made Black Panther, regardless. We didn't even almost care if the movie was going to be good or not. That movie was going to be a hit, regardless. It was going to be a
Yeah.
blockbuster, just
Mhm.
because Black people wanted it to be that. Hispanics don't do that.
Yeah, and also,
Okay,
go ahead.
like they don't. Their artists. They don't make them big like that. That's
Mm.
why their artists got to replicate us. They got
Yeah,
to come to us. They got to replicate us and talk like us and move like us for them to get any type of motion.
mhm.
They don't get no motion in America, keyword, in
Mhm.
America doing Spanish shit, stuff. The doing Spanish stuff, okay? They don't have no motion doing that, okay? Because this is America. So that's why they gotta act like foundational Black Americans. And they're complaining, but they're not putting in the work and the effort to make their artists super big. They
It's
want
only
their culture recognized, but yet the they don't support that.
it's only a few of them that kind of slipped through the cracks. Like, what that was back then. Like, you had your Ricky Martins who like really blew up. Then
Mm.
you had like, or Carlos Santana was another one. And even he credited Black Americans with his sound. So there was some that slipped through the cracks, but it's almost like, that was then, but it's like, okay, where are you now? And to add on to what you said, Afro, about with Black Panther, that's interesting because Black Panther came out in February, which is, of course, this month. And that was typically seen as a month where movies don't really do well. You would think that a movie like that would have got released in the summer. Blue Beetle got released in the summertime and flopped.
Wow.
And it was a lot, and it was a lot of people. Like it was even people in that community who didn't like it because they said they didn't like the stereotypes that they put in. And ironically, we mentioned George Lopez because George Lopez was in that movie.
He was. Mm.
He played, and they said he played a stereotype through and through. But a lot of people in that community don't like George Lopez. I forgot the reason as to why, but a lot of them don't really rock with him like that. But anyway, let's move on to the next part. That last line on this page. She said, "Our parents taught us the culture as best they could while being targeted and beaten to forget their origins." Why does that sound like what our ancestors went through?
Oh, that's a straight up lie. I mean, that is what our ancestors. That's copy and paste what our ancestors went through. You just put it in front of it.
Yeah,
What the hell? I'm trying to figure out. They taught us the culture as best as they could, while being targeted by whom and beaten by whom. I'm trying to figure out because y'all still very much remember your origins. Y'all are the same. These are the same people running around with signs, picket signs saying immigrants built America. So, and how you're so proud to be Latino and Latinos built this country and Latinos matter. And so if you're so proud to be Latino, you're so proud of your homeland. Mind you, these are the same people with fucking they flags and they buy all these flags and they bio ain't never been in none of these countries. But they love representing their country so bad. So how did you forget your origins? Who is beating you to forget how are y'all being targeted and beaten to forget your origins when y'all are very much repping the hell out of that shit? That don't make sense. I mean, it's just contradictory. You would think Black Americans have been reclassified multiple times. Multiple times.
mm-hmm.
You know? So I'm just trying to figure out where y'all are not walking around reclassifying yourself like that, not being forced to, at least. Y'all are wanting, y'all are trying to reclassify yourselves as white. But that's not the same thing as being reclassified from a Negro. I mean, from a slave to a Negro. That's not this. So what are we saying? What exactly is she trying to say by saying being targeted and beaten? Because I don't understand how you're being targeted and beaten. And y'all are very much proud of where y'all came from. Y'all are very much trying to make America wherever the fuck you from 2.0. So I'm just not understanding how are you having both. You can't not remember something, but also fight for it to be here at the same time. That's just not making sense.
That comment, the last comment in the tweet, contradicts the very first comment in the tweet. Okay, the whole we've been here our whole lives. Okay, clearly you feel like your origin is in America. So who's been beating this out of you? Okay, you feel like you've been owed something. The only reason you're making this tweet is because you, as a Hispanic, feel as if American, not just the country, but the culture and the society owes you more recognition. And you feel that way, even though the entitlement is unwarranted and undeserved, you feel that way. So for you to say, yeah, and they've been telling us to forget our origins, no, no. If they've been telling you your origins don't start here, that's because that's the case. Now, what's interesting is that what you can pick up from this is assimilation. All right. When you come to America, don't forget your origins, but yeah, you do speak English. English, this America is an English speaking country. Okay. And a lot of them reject and resist assimilation. A lot of them, you talking about we've been beaten and targeted to forget our origins. Y'all right next door. Y'all can go back home, but y'all don't want to assimilate. And nobody makes you guys, for the most part. You guys are, to be very honest, Hispanic immigrants are very privileged when it comes to other immigrants who are more pressured to assimilate into American society. Okay. You have a whole lot of Hispanic enclaves where it is nothing but Spanish, and that they do not have to assimilate at all. They don't even have to become a citizen. They don't even have to be legal. Okay. So nobody's forcing or targeting y'all at all. Y'all have been able to get away scot free for generations. Okay. The Hispanic immigrants, and I'll say it again, are more privileged. Well, maybe not right now. Maybe not right now. But in general, in totality, through the whole span of things, than other immigrants are. All right. No beating and targeting. Nobody's making y'all do it. And if it's that bad, y'all can go home.
All right, y'all. So we made it through page one. I hope y'all ready for page two, because page two is probably arguably worse. Let's do our breathing. Let's do our breathing exercises, because this is gonna be a doozy. Page two. All right. They said, first line, to this day, our culture is underrepresented in American sports, media, and music. Yet we celebrate any crumbs given.
You must not watch baseball. Y'all very represented in baseball.
Hell of the minute.
And also
Y'all very
don't forget
represented.
and also don't forget the World Cup is this year, so y'all
Yeah,
gonna
I
be
was
very
about to be like,
represented.
y'all are probably the most. Y'all are the most, to my knowledge, you are the most represented in soccer, or what y'all would call football. Okay, and that's global.
And that's the most
Um,
popular sport in the world.
yeah, that's a global sport. That's the biggest sport, period.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Besides that, mm, do you all like? Because we can get into stereotype, but culturally, y'all don't really American football is not y'all culture.
Oh,
That's
basketball.
that's that's not really y'all culture, nor is basketball.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I would disagree with that. You're saying music, well, mainstream music. No, that's because y'all just don't get what it y'all don't get the flavor to make it mainstream. But y'all go, there's a whole bunch of local artists and all of that stuff. Yeah, y'all can if y'all wanted to. Y'all got a whole bunch of specific Spanish channels and things like that. The thing is that you're jealous that when you say underrepresented, no, the representation is not as big. The representation doesn't reach the clout levels that ours do. That's really what it is. All right. Um media and music, yeah. So no, y'all not underrepresented. Y'all don't have a LeBron James. That's just what it is. Y'all don't have a Michael Jordan or a Muhammad Ali. Y'all don't have one of those. I mean, no, you don't. You just don't. You know.
Yeah, and you know what? And this is what I'm saying. It kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, which is like these people really believe they have some sort of stake in this land. Like they think these people have gotten to a level of delusion where they really believe they are an equal contributor to the building or the foundation of this country, and this type of shit proves it. Because why would you even be so why are you even so upset that you are underrepresented, which is the wrong word to use? But why would you be so upset about that if literally right outside of America, damn near the whole world loves soccer. They love baseball, they love like you guys are represented in these fields. So why in the world is it only because America doesn't see y'all like that it's a problem? because she's saying America, but really what she's saying is the dominant society. The dominant society, these white supremacists. The white supremacists is not giving us a platform over here with you niggas. Y'all getting all this shine, and I'm here, and this is my land too. And why the fuck I can't have a slip? Why we can't have a Hispanic Beyonce or Hispanic Ocho Cinco or Hispanic Deion Sanders? Why we not getting that sort of representation? Because they really have like, this is honestly, I'm starting to get a little mad thinking about this, because you really think, like, these people actually believe that you are equivalent to us. You have an equivalent stake in this land to us, and you do not. This whole bullshit thing about representation, the only people I'm worried about being represented is foundational Black Americans. I'm not checking for no damn Hispanics. I don't even connect. Outside of the Super Bowl, that weak ass Super Bowl performance that just happened, even though that whole thing was in Spanish, which was automatically a disconnect. The fact that man is Hispanic, the fact that his whole look, the culture, that's something that most Americans, Black or white, don't connect to, because that's not in our country. That's a whole different land's culture. So no, we're not connecting to that. Just dealing within reality. Why would I, as a Black American, be looking for entertainment outside of my own spaces? That don't make sense. Whether it's white or Black, because white folks, at least with white Americans, although the connection there is egregious, it's absolutely egregious, the history we have as white and Black Americans, when I see a white American, there's connections in my head that I make, maybe not from their side. It might be some anti-Black connections that I'm making, but there's connections that I'm making. So me seeing a white performer or even a white speaker talk about white American politics and things, there's a different way of processing things, because there's a different connection. You're coming from somewhere. You're coming from outside the club, coming in the club and talking about what the hell wrong with the club. No, these are people that been here. We've been here. We've been at war with each other. We've been doing this. So the level of me wanting to see them or understanding some of the things they have to say is different. You are somebody that you are a foreigner coming out with foreign things and expecting everybody just to grasp onto it like everybody else. No, that's not what we're here. That's why there was a disconnect on both sides. Black and white Americans was like, what the fuck are we watching? What is this? Because this is not American. So, yeah, and although foundational Black Americans are the true Americans, we're just going to keep that a being. Again, it's just different. These people are really delusional. This is crazy as hell. They colonizers 2.0. These people got colonizer mindsets 2.0. This is crazy. It's getting dangerous.
All right, so the next line says, people belittle our mothers, abuelos, fathers, sons, and daughters, mocking our English, telling us to go back to where we came from, despite being native to the land.
Here they go, the African brute scratching.
Okay. When you talk about native to the land, and this is the thing that this is the little game a lot of Hispanics like to play, where they say, well, technically, this land was at a certain point in time Mexico. There were certain people. This land was Mexico at a certain point in time. No, this land was never Mexico. Okay, this land was that was not a thing. Okay, if you're talking about the California, that's before it became America. Then it became America. So it's therefore no longer Mexico. Because with that logic, Mexico does not belong to Mexicans. Mexico belongs to the Spanish. With that logic, if we're going to use that logic. If they're using the logic, a lot of them use that they play this like 3-card Monty with being native, right? And say, well, we're Aboriginal and Spanish and this. A lot of them, truth be told, are not really. The ones who represent and talk about being Aboriginal don't really have an Aboriginal bloodline. And I'm not one to necessarily try to denounce somebody or try to disown or discredit somebody's Aboriginal history. But if you actually go to Mexico and look up documentaries and things like that, a lot of the actual real native Aboriginal Hispanics, they stay in a very secluded enclave that is pushed away from society. That's pretty much ostracized from society. So they pull that, well, technically Mexicans are Aboriginal too. No, well, the Aboriginal Mexicans, which are really the Afro Mexicans, okay, because you go look up the Aboriginal Mexicans, they look black. The Aboriginal Mexicans are shunned and ostracized, and nobody wants to be around them. Nobody wants to procreate with them. They have a thing in their culture called I think it's Mita La Raza, right? Which
Mm,
means purify the race. If you go look on Telemundo, which is interesting, she brought it up, and you go look on the other channel, I forgot the name of the other channel, right? Or station. You go look
Univision.
on that, all you see is what you would call, Torian, PC
Hmm.
um Mexicans. Okay. I'm talking about um pale skin, not a lick of melanin in
mm,
any of the cast members on any of the channels. Okay. White as snow on all of this stuff. And this is the representation that they have. All right. The the biggest celebrity that you would see on TV, or the darkest celebrity that you would see on TV, is George Lopez.
mm.
And he's not like dark, to be very honest. Kind of like in that brown range. And he's as dark as they want him to get, as their representation wants to get. All right. So the whole we're native. No, you're really Spanish. You're really of Spanish descent. If we're gonna be honest, you're you're clinging on to that little native stuff, but y'all reject that. Okay, y'all don't like your native side. If you go talk to them, a lot of them cling on and have more reverence and respect for their Spanish side.
Mm.
Okay, they love the language. They love it. Okay, they'll say you're not a real Mexican unless you speak Spanish. They love all of that Spanish culture, and they try to use the quote native ancestry when convenient for them to claim things that don't belong to them.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's a fact, and it's funny because these immigrants all make the same play. That's why I said this is the African booty scratcher thing, because this is the same thing these Africans be doing. Like, oh, you guys bullied us so much, and oh, you guys, da da da, all while ignoring the heavy acts of anti-blackness they practice every single day within each other, towards each other, and towards mainly Black Americans. So I mean, this bubble that you're living in, act to make it seem like you're some sort of victim, it's a lie. Again, it's delusion. And even I'm glad after you said that about these natives, because the thing about indigenous people, aboriginals, they're in their lands. Most of the time when you find an aboriginal, they're in their original land. So it's funny that y'all screaming we in our land, but you had to come here. It's funny. That's just kind of odd that most of y'all had to come here, or your parents had to come here, and now you're making this argument that, no, why didn't you make that argument where you were at? I don't like to say I'm a native where you're at. You want to come over here 3,000 miles, 4,000, 10,000 miles away and say, oh, yeah, I'm a native. And rep your flag from home, but say this is our land. It's very contradictory. It doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
But yeah, these people are not getting bullied like that. Y'all practice anti-black racism to a T. All right, damn near just as much as the white T supremacists y'all are trying to be. So I don't want to hear this whole we making fun of your accents and all this other shit. No, y'all are anti-black as hell. So I mean, the bullying, y'all will be alright. It builds character. If that did happen, but it does not compare. It doesn't even compare to anti-black racism in any way, shape, or form. So I don't feel bad. It be alright.
I'm gonna read the next two lines because I think they kind of go together. So the next two says, "We're happy to join any show, even when working instead of sitting at the tables. Why don't we have bigger roles? Why are 97% of executives still white, 2% black, and 1% other?"
All right, black people, let's get to 3%. Come on, we winning the race. Okay.
I'm confused.
Okay.
I,
First
I was
off,
confused by that too. I was like, "What?" I was like, "What is that? What are you trying to say?"
uh, now when you talk about we're happy to join any shows, she's saying that as if she did not already mention that she has two complete networks. Okay, not just shows, channels,
Mm,
specifically and exclusively dedicated for them and them alone. All right.
Hmm.
So we don't get no shows. No, you already established that you do have shows. And they have shows like George Lopez, and there's other shows that have a Hispanic lead in them as well too. You had other soap operas that have Hispanic leads and love interests and things like that. So No, it's just y'all don't pop like that. But you're making it seem as if you have this particular discrimination. No, it's not. It's not a discrimination thing. All right. You all are given the chance. Black people, we were not given the chance. You all were.
Mm.
Y'all just didn't do what we did. Okay, we made lemons turn into lemonade. Y'all didn't. Okay, that's the difference there. Um, they mock our English. Look, like I said, it's okay. It's okay. Y'all gonna be okay.
When
Uh, some
I gotta add on to
again,
this. When was the last time you saw a Black American on a telenovela? How do you pronounce it? The Spanish
Right.
soap operas. When's the last
yeah,
time they said, you know what, we're
Never.
gonna take a
For real.
chance on you, but you gotta learn Spanish to do this role. And they gave them a script and they had to learn it. When's the last time you saw a Black American on a Spanish soap opera on Telemundo?
I ain't never seen.
no,
Meanwhile, there has been several people of the South of the Borderian persuasion who has been all up and through BET.
Mm-hmm.
that's very true. Let's be honest. That first off, y'all don't even have. You want to talk about natives? Y'all don't even have native Mexicans on your shows.
Yeah.
Y'all
That's
don't. Y'all do not have that. You when you look, you would think like these are Caucasians. They look Aryan. They look Caucasian. They look like they're from Spain. They look like the show was filmed and recorded and edited in Spain.
that's
They don't
true.
even have native Hispanics in their shows. While they want to claim native, but they don't want that to be represented. Okay.
Mm,
And they not gonna have any Black American get represented. Now we've had shows and we've had movies and we've included them, whether it was a big role or a small role, they've been included in our projects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We've had artists like Ice Cube. He's had movies and things like that of the sort, and he's put them in certain roles and things like that as well too. We've included them in enough of our stuff. All right.
mm.
We've given them enough room to grow, enough room to be represented. We don't owe them anything else. And then when you talk about executives, what are you talking about, like CEOs? Or is now are we talking about TV producers? What is executive?
They left that like very vague. That's why I read those two lines together and I'm still kind of lost on what they meant by that. Like executives
Yeah.
in what? Because you have to be specific because there's executives in almost everything.
Right. Yeah. Good point.
So yeah, what does that mean? I mean, why most of them white? Well, because of racism. I mean, that answers that.
This
I
is-
mean, I mean, that's another thing. If you're gonna live in this establishment, you're gonna have to know what white supremacy is.
Yeah.
That I mean, the fact that this person asked that question means that they don't know what it is, or they probably do know, but they don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, and I don't know why. This is like she's being very disingenuous because like everyone just said, y'all don't treat your natives well. Y'all are very much y'all practice anti-black racism within each other. So we can sit here and fake like y'all want all this representation, but even the chances that y'all do get, let's be honest, every role J Lo done had outside of what Money Train, she was fucking on a white man. So what are we talking about? She wasn't up there pushing no Hispanic unity up there with Hispanic men. She dated a lot of white men in real life. On top of that, I think she dated a couple of Hispanic. She was married to one famous Hispanic, if I'm not mistaken, one or two.
Mark Anthony.
Exactly. So, but for the most part, she was with white men. She was up there with white zaddies. So, what type of messaging are y'all really sending here? What are we outside of George Lowe? What family representation are y'all really trying to push? A lot of these Hispanic actresses accept these roles knowing that they're not going to end up with a Hispanic a male. They're not going to have any other Hispanic representation, and even that little bit of Hispanic representation they're supposed to be. You're really a white woman. That's what Latino black background. These ain't really authentic Hispanic or Latino fucking stories that's happening. So y'all don't really care that much. What it is that you just want to see your face up the white zaddy. You're saying black people. The problem is that she don't want to say you seeing too many black folks. that you want to see, that you want replaced by Latinos. That's the real issue here, because there's no issue with y'all speaking Spanish and all your culture. That's nonsense. You don't mind a Latino face with a white, all white everything else, as long as it's a little splash of a little flag in the background somewhere. It could be a Karen looking blonde haired, blue eyed white woman, and she got a little Puerto Rican flag. And it's like, okay, well, that's our representation. There we go. Y'all don't really care about y'all don't really care about the push for your people. This is a assimilation tactic so you can get closer to white man.
And also, too, let me add this in here before I forget. It's funny that they're talking about, this person's talking about like lack of representation or being underrepresented. Every year in the state of New York, they have two major nationally big parades. And ironically, if in some other metropolitan areas, they might have them too, but New York is known for having these two major parades: the Puerto Rican Day Parade and the Dominican Day Parade. You don't even have to be or live in New York to know that those two things exist. I don't live in New York, and I know that those two things exist, and they have them every summer, and it's a very big deal. So big, in fact, that where they have the parades at, it's literally in a very open space, like in downtown New York. You even have politicians in the floats who aren't even of that heritage that are in those parades. Probably don't even speak the language. And they have big parades for them. Then they might have little small ones that happen in the boroughs. That's for the locals who probably can't get to the city. And they literally block out a whole week or a weekend for both of those, because they happen at two different times. And so when they talk about underrepresentation, I said, y'all get a huge push right there. And I'm almost certain there's some donations that come through that way as well. Especially like if you look at the Bronx, because the Bronx, that's where a lot of Puerto Ricans live at. And if you look at Washington Heights, that's where a lot of Dominicans dwell at in New York. So when they talk about underrepresentation, that's very interesting. I think they just started doing, and maybe y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, I think they just started doing a Black American parade, because I know that the Caribbeans, they have one.
New York, they definitely just had a Black American parade.
I think they just started doing the Black American parade. It's more new. It's the more recent one, but I think they just started doing it. All right, so let me go on to the next. Look at this one. Why are we belittled not only by white people, but apparently by some in the Black community too?
That's what it is. I'm trying to tell you. They try to replace us. She writing all of this just for to really try to hide in between the lines, because that's what your essential problem is. Why are we belittled by not only black people, but apparently some black? You niggas shouldn't be able to do what white Zanny do. Y'all not the same as them. Y'all supposed to be under us. And you telling me we coming over here, you telling us this your shit, this y'all land? No, this is white daddy land, and we gotta go by his rule, and he say that we the buffer class. We get to identify as white in our Spaniard side, so we should be the ones most represented. We should be the ones with the best halftime shows and the biggest artists and the this, that, and the other, because we deserve y'all spot. These people actually believe that, and they accredit all of our success to the dominant society, and so they believe that if they can replace us, they will become us. Essentially, they will have the power that we have, which is that idea within itself is hella anti-black and racist. It's the logic of a white supremacist. That's the logic of a colonized mind, because we know that we are the most influential people on this planet. We are the gods. We are the true Americans. We are the leaders of morality and any positive things, shape or form that has formed on this damn planet in the last 400 years. So they know that. These white supremacists know that, but these wannabes really believe that that they don't understand our power, that they think that they can really just put cosplay as us and become us. It's really sick. This is sickening. This is the greatest.
Mm-hmm. Definitely is. Notice how her real issue, because if you go to this tweet, in a tweet before, she brings up black more frequently than she brings up white. Okay, in the tweet. Okay, she is using white as a cover. She has an issue when she sees black representation. That's her issue. Okay, but she can't call that out. because then it's going to be all like, okay, this tweet is anti-black, and she doesn't want it to say that. So she's bringing up, well, white and black have more than we do. White people and black people. But if you actually dissect the tweet, she has an issue that she feels that black people have more in America than Hispanic people do. That's her real issue. Okay. Now, when you talk about belittled, Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, we have historically been clinging on to this black and brown alliance and black and brown coalition, so much so that you all have been benefiting more so from policies that we have fought for than anything that you guys have done that we've benefited from. There's not much fighting and suffraging and all of this that Hispanics have done that we've been able to come there and eat off the benefits of. Yet you can name several things that goes in the reverse in the other way around. We've been the ones trying to help them and pull them up and show them representation and move to the side so they can get a little bit of spotlight too. We've been the ones doing that. All right. They don't put us on. Even when you talk about Kendrick Lamar's new his last album, GNX, and he had Hispanic artists in his album. You don't have Hispanic artists putting no black Americans on.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have
Remember
them
how they
doing that.
react? Remember how they reacted last year? Not last year, the year before last, when he had that that event out there in California, and you had some of them no name Mexican rappers saying, "Where were we at? I don't know." Weren't y'all in the
Yeah.
crowd like the rest of them? No, they were
Yeah.
mad. They went up on that stage. I said he had no obligation to put you up there. He
Yeah.
was doing that. He was literally doing that for the culture, and you were outside of the confines of that culture. So and they got
Yeah.
so upset about that. And what was that? That was that no name podcast they had getting up there talking all that crap. And we shut that down, respectfully. And in some
Yeah.
cases, disrespectfully. So let's go to this
Sure.
next couple of ones. Once it says America has used and abused us for too long, then they follow up with I'm happy to support other cultures, but I demand ours be included and respected.
You need to demand that your homeland get rebuilt. How about that? Why don't you demand that y'all go back home and y'all unify so y'all can actually help dismantle this system of white supremacy? All right, y'all been used and abused so long. Well, then take your ass home. I'm confused. Why are you choosing to be used and abused? I'm just not. Black Americans can't go nowhere. We don't have nowhere else to go. This is our
Exactly.
homeland. So why the fuck are
Exactly.
you choosing to stay here to be used and abused? Especially if you're gonna choose to be used and abused and not fight back. Because that's the part you're leaving out. You niggas don't be fighting back. Black Americans fight back, and you're damn sure ain't helping us fight back. So you're choosing to stay here just to solely get used and abused and really, really in your mind to get closer to white daddy, but you're complaining about. I'm just saying. Why sit here and complain? Take the abuse if that's what you really want. That's apparently what you want because you knew what it was when you came here. Black Americans ain't been doing nothing but getting abused by this system of white supremacy, by this white government, by the diamond society. So why in what world, again, would you think you could come over here and the same thing is going to happen to you and choose to come over here and we supposed to feel bad? I don't feel bad. I'm sorry. Take your ass home and fight back. That's what you can do. Like, for real.
Mm-hmm. Now, notice too, I'm happy to support other cultures. That's her way of saving face, okay? That's her little exit, that's her little safety net because she already knew what people were going to perceive in that comment. She already knew the underline because it seems like you hating. It seems like you hating on black people. So the whole, oh no, I'm happy. I just want mine to be included too. Well, you didn't have to bring black people up at all if you were happy for us. It don't sound that none of the points, the bullet points or whatever you've made that you're happy that black people get anything. You've been making it seem like black people have been taking your spot. That's what you've been making it seem the entire time. Now you want to say you're happy because you don't want to get drugged in the comments, but it's already too late for that. Okay. You demand to be included and respected and all of that. You've been included and respected up until the point you deserve. You say America has abused you for too long, yet you're not articulating abuse. what you're articulating is, in your opinion, a lack of proper representation.
Mm,
Abuse and lack of representation on television, because that's her biggest thing. Because she started off with TV
Mhm.
shows. She
yeah,
didn't even start off with politics and
right.
legislation and all of that stuff.
Mm,
You started off with TV shows and music. So because you don't have big Hispanic artists on TV shows or Hispanic actors and actresses on in movies, that's not abuse. You're using the word abuse. No, that's not abuse. It just
well,
ain't nobody coming to see y'all stuff. That's what that is.
Mhm. I'm gonna read the last two. It says more of our people should be represented in sports networks and government. So they're going back to the sports and networks, and now they're throwing in government.
government. Oh
Then they
wow.
said, how do people from foreign countries outside the American continent get more rights, education, and representation than us Latinos?
Mm. There goes that supporting other communities. I just went, there goes that supporting other communities thing that you just said. Okay.
Mhm.
This is kind of crazy. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much more proof in the pudding. I don't know how much we could have stopped after the first page. I don't know how much more proof of the pudding is going to prove that these people are truly delusional. These people really think that they can replace. Like these niggas really think they can replace us. And honestly, that's very crazy though. That's ironic that you just said something about politicians or policies, legislation, and then she throws in government at the end because that's not really what she was thinking about. Again, these people don't really want change. You don't really. If that was the case, then you would have led with that. We need people in government. We need to make sure we have policies and tangibles are being brought to our community, and that's the sort of language you will be using. But you don't give a damn about that. These people really just want to get closer in a more comfortable position under white daddy. That's
And
really it. They just want a more comfortable buffer class. They want to be able to say, I can tell what niggas to do just like white people do. I got just as much power as them, but I'm still under them. But y'all are under me. That's all they want is a solidified position under. I mean, as a validated buffer class for white tea supremacy, because that's all essentially she's complaining about. Is I'm not getting enough crumbs from white daddy. If you was
and also
really trying to make a change, if you would really try to make a change, all I'm saying is you would have led with governmental policies or legislation or something to the effect of outside of just some damn entertainment, sports and movies and music. Your mind wouldn't even went there first. You wouldn't honestly. You probably would have maybe threw it in at the end. But for you to lead with that all the way up into the last sentence of the fucking second page is a little telling within itself.
And also, too, they did have representation in political spots. Remember this name, Nuri Martinez, out there in
Yeah.
California, and the anti-black things that she said, that stuff that got revealed in that recording. Someone there had
Oh,
recorded, and they put it all out there, and it exposed her and her whole cabinet. Mind you, most of her cabinet was south of the Borderian, just like she was.
mm,
I mean, she said something. I'm gonna use your words, easy. She said some very egregious things about black people out there in California. It was horrific. Some of the stuff that she was saying, like so much in fact
Yeah.
that they had to force her, and it was so bad that they practically had to force her entire cabinet out and start fresh.
mm,
Not
So
only
then,
that, Soren,
go ahead.
not only that, but when it comes to political representation, they get political representation from people who are not Spanish. Okay.
yeah,
They get
Mhm.
political representation from pretty much everybody. They are extremely catered to. Joe Biden said that black people needed to fall in line. He told us that we needed to fall in line with them because they got a bigger percentage than we do, and we got congressional Black Caucus members who will literally get arrested on their behalf, go out there and protest on their behalf, but won't do nothing for reparations, won't do anything for foundational Black Americans. So you got pretty much every single, especially when it comes to the Democratic representation, they cater to them heavily. All right. AOC is talking about they needed reparations for being deported or something like that. So come on, let's not
mm,
um they are very represent they're way more represented than we are politically, but that's not really what she cares about. Like ZZ said, that's not what she cares about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because
She
like
wants
you said,
she
because she
wants
would
to
have
be
led with
on
that.
TV and see him like that. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so we made it through page 2. So now we are officially about to go to the last page, y'all. And it's only just this part. It's very short. She said, history repeats itself. We're hunted like animals, disrespected, thrown out, and abused, while foreigners reap benefits from our hard work in land. Then they put a sweating emoji and a broken heart emoji. Again, that sounds a lot like what our narrative.
Boy, this is crazy. Boy, this is insane. These people are really insane. And you know what's insane? What's even more insane is that you screaming about representation, and in any form, I'm hesitant for a Latino. I'm just as hesitant for a Latino to have any sort of representation in any part of government, going down to police. Because y'all be racist as hell. This is what I'm saying. Like, y'all are really anti-black as hell. Matter of fact, speaking of California, it was just another. I remember it was a female cop that got arrested because she was telling other cops, she was a Hispanic cop, telling other cops to hit black people in the liver. On the spleen, you ever been saying that shit? She said to hit him in the kidney. I think it was the
kidney. I think I know what you're talking about. That story does sound familiar now that you mentioned the part about hitting them in certain organs or body parts.
Yeah, because it makes us weaker or something to that effect. But this is a Hispanic, and then the multiple. We're not going to even get into the gangs, okay? That some of these people be involved in these organizations as well. So I'm already like you're a risk. You're a high risk already being put inside government and being able to have a say so and practice anti-black racism just as much as these quote unquote foreigners, even though you're the foreigner as well. Okay, both. I don't need two anti-black foreigners trying to tell me what the hell is best for me and my community. This is ass backwards. If I'm already fighting one half of the white supremacists, why would I sign up to bring on another slew of them? I'm just not. That's ass backwards. So yeah, these people, the delusion, man. We're getting hunted down like animals. Listen, she sounds like a lot of these liberals that's out here saying that ICE is Nazis, and we were just talking about this for the culture. Shameless plug. Make sure you check out the last episode. But yeah, these people are really trying to make this stretch comparison to make it seem like they're going through anything similar, even kind of similar as what we went through, so they can actually verify their class. And it's not going to happen that way because you're trying to validate lies. You're trying to compare your experience in such an untruthful, dishonest way that it's never going to land. It's never going to connect, especially for black people, because we know. And not only do we know, we're still actively experiencing it. So you can't sit here and tell me that what you're going through is the same when you're going home. These people are getting sent home. This is crazy. Yeah, they're delusional, man. They're delusional.
Okay. And let me say this before you get to the next part, because I know you will. History repeats itself. Whose history?
Right.
At what point have Hispanics in America been hunted like animals, disrespected and thrown out and abused? You saying history? So history repeats itself means that this has happened to you all here before, or are you saying that this is our history and now it's happening to you guys, or what does that mean? History repeats itself because it's not your history here.
Mm-hmm. And now we get to the part where I think this is the reason why they wrote this entire post. People hated the halftime show because it was in Spanish. Hashtag Bad Bunny. But we deserve a moment too. Imagine rooting for others as Latinos, but when it's your moment, they boo. Now, it's crazy because didn't they have some kind of all-American halftime show? Now, that was PC's doing. They decided to go ahead and do that. Now, one thing they're not about to do, or she's not about to do, is come for us, because there were some off-code Negroes that was going to bat for y'all when they were trying to come at us saying, how dare we just not like the Bad Bunny halftime show. There was a lot of black people that was making videos all over TikTok talking about that and saying how wrong we were and all this, that, and the third.
Okay, can I say something? Y'all people hated the halftime show because it was in Spanish. That's reason enough. And we need to stop pretending like a whole halftime show being in another language is not a reason enough for somebody to dislike the performance.
It's a
It's not
reason why people.
talking
I
about
didn't mean
a
to cut you off.
song or two. I'm talking about the entire performance is
Mm-hmm.
Except one part, except one part, and that's when Lady Gaga was up there. That's the
For about
only
one
time it
minute.
was. That was the only time it was in English. Was when
Yeah.
she was up there.
so that's enough. That's enough. And then you say, but we deserve our moment too. A few years ago, you had J Lo and Shakira at the Super Bowl
Mm-hmm.
when J Lo and Shakira and Bad Bunny was there.
He was.
Okay, and they did a lot of Spanish, but all of their stuff wasn't in Spanish.
Nope.
To be honest, Bad Bunny, you got the fourth. Bad Bunny had the fourth rated Super Bowl of all time. All right, so yeah, he had his moment. And he was like, "Oh, imagine rooting for others as Latinos." You're saying that like you guys have been doing that um so joyfully and all of that. I remember last year y'all was hating on Kendrick. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
y'all did not like the shine Kendrick was getting at all. Y'all didn't like it at the Super Bowl. Y'all didn't like it in L.A. Y'all didn't like Sinners. If we're gonna bring that up when
Oh,
we're talking about
I
media.
meant to bring that up earlier too, but I'm glad you went back to that.
It's a lot of when it comes to black people and y'all feel like y'all not included, y'all feel like y'all not included in anything black, y'all hate on it. Y'all
Mm-hmm.
hate on it damn near just as much as white people do. Okay?
Yeah,
So
that
yeah,
part.
and
Like,
then when it's our moment, no, y'all be hating. And the thing is that black people, foundational black Americans, for the most part, we were not really hating. We were just showing that we were not interested.
yeah, because we knew it wasn't. We knew
Okay?
it wasn't for. We knew it wasn't for us. But they wanted us to like it so bad because what have I told you? We are the culture. We give the stamp of approval. That's what it was. They wanted us to give the stamp of approval and say, "Oh, thank God, Black Americans said they liked it. Now we know we good." But if we say we didn't care for it, we didn't vibe with it because of this, that, and the third, now we are anti this. We are oppressing them. We are, this, all this, and the third. It's like, why do you need to wait for us to say something? There are so many other groups out there that probably feel the same way, or they may have liked it. Why don't you go and talk to one of them? But you always come back to us. But it's also because they see us again as the low hanging fruit, the easiest ones to go after. And if they want to get in that algorithm, just say something anti-black. That's why so many of them fools was all over TikTok talking about, well, black people are this and black people are that because they didn't like Bad Bunny. Let me be honest with you. They were on there grifting for the 20 pieces of silver because many of them who were saying that didn't even mean what they said. They just saw a wave and they hopped on it to get all those views and clicks so they can get their engagement up and get money and get paid. Listen, we've been doing this for a while now to know exactly how a lot of these individuals get down. I can smell a grift a mile away. And that's exactly what many of them were doing. You just got on social media like 2.5 seconds ago, and all of a sudden now you some type of an expert.
You know it's crazy because that Bad Bunny performance. First of all, even with the Kendrick thing, we even gave them a little. Kendrick even gave them a little representation with the Kendrick thing. Okay, because in the Lot Like Us video, he still had them in the little corner doing their little crook walk or whatever the hell it was. This Hispanic game something. That was in it. Okay, he had Lefty Gunplay on one of his songs, so Kendrick even still gave them a nod when he was really focused on us. All right, y'all still got a little bit of attention. You should be grateful for that. Okay. But with the Bad Bunny thing, we're not going to sit here and think like, even those of us, I wouldn't even call it hating. We were critiquing him and pointing out the obvious. Wasn't nobody just hating like these anti-black or Hispanics? We saw that Bad Bunny literally took aspects from Kendrick's show the year before. You literally took aspects from that man's show and put it on and tried to remix it into some Hispanic revolutionary BS, and it just didn't resonate. It didn't hit the same because you can't take something from somewhere else and expect it to resonate the same where it don't belong. It's point blank period. And then again, going back to this whole Hispanic Latino representation thing, if y'all really wanted that, why would you have a white woman up there singing English for even 2 minutes out of the segment?
Yeah, that kind of threw me off too. That he had like this was on the like this entire performance was in Spanish, and that they had Lady Gaga, who was a whole white woman, up there. I said there were so many other women that you could have got from your community who could sing English, if that's what you were going for, that you could have threw up there besides Lady Gaga. I mean, nothing against her, but I thought that was kind of interesting because I don't know if y'all picked up, but it was a song. The song that she did was a collaboration song that she did with Bruno Mars, and it's actually a very nice song too. But they salsified it. They made it. They basically turned it into what almost like a Mexican or Spanish sounding song. Like they sped it up and they added the acoustics and everything to it. But yeah, and I'm just like, listen, if we didn't care for it, it is what it is. I mean, if you liked it, you liked it. If you didn't, you didn't. What we did not like, though, is the fact that they tried to come at us for not liking it, as if we were not allowed to dislike it or anything like that. And us saying that, oh, we didn't really care for it meant that we somehow didn't like Bad Bunny or we don't like that particular community. What I found also interesting is if you notice at the end of his performance, he has a bunch of people coming out with a bunch of flags. You saw, I mean, it was a blinking you miss it moment, but you briefly saw the American flag that was in there. Like I said, it was a blinking you miss it moment. But you know one flag that I didn't see in there that, because, apparently they're so mad at us. But you know one flag I didn't see in the mix of all of those flags? I didn't see the FBA flag. I mean, they had a flag for almost every Caribbean island out there. They had a flag for everybody, almost every country in Latin America. They had the Mexican flag, all of that. But for them to want us to have liked that performance so much, I didn't see our flag up there. I didn't see someone come out on the field carrying our flag.
And you barely saw any deeply melanated dancers up there for real. You really didn't see that many dark skin or phenotypically black looking Latinos on that stage. They had a couple. It was a couple sprinkled up in there, but for the most part, the stage looked beige. The stage looked very tan. It was not given a plethora or a Latino diaspora. Okay, because all of them niggas don't look. Most of them niggas don't look like that. Okay.
You mean you wasn't up there?
Say that again.
You mean you wasn't up there?
But that goes back to the point. These people are trying to be a recruit. They're trying to solidify their buffer class. Because like you said, they have no Black American flags up there. So we are America. All of these.
And trust me, I was looking too.
All of these beige Latinos are America with all of these different representing these different flags, and we're in alignment with our ally is this white woman because that's who you really trying to ally. That's who you really want to be ally. That's who you really want to cozy up next to is their white who she was representing is white supremacy. That's who you're trying to cuddle up next to while also again taken from Kendrick's dad performance trying to cosplay as us. But no, you're not us. Because you're above us, which is why we was in nowhere representing that damn performance. But you made sure to say, oh yeah, but we with the white folks though. These white women, these liberals that want us here. That's we aligning with this side of white supremacy, but we not with them niggas. Although we gonna take from them. So yeah, this very anti-black.
And another thing as well too, the whole when it's our moment they boo. Nobody booed. That's the thing. We didn't boo. A lot of, to be totally honest, a lot of us didn't really watch it like that anyway to boo. You know what I'm saying? That no, it wasn't no boo. We were just like, we were indifferent about it. The problem isn't the fact that we allegedly booed. The problem was you all felt entitled to have your big moment. You felt entitled to have a Kendrick Lamar level moment or a Michael Jackson level moment. And the only way y'all could get that is through our approval, and we didn't give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
And see, it's interesting that you mentioned Kendrick Lamar and Michael Jackson because, like with them, their music, everybody can really, but outside of the language spectrum of it, everybody can vibe with it. Even like when you look back at Michael Jackson's performance at the last song that he did was Heal the World. And he literally had all people from all nationalities and backgrounds from around the world come up on stage with him to sing Heal the World while wearing attire representing of their nation and while still connecting with everybody. That's how it's supposed to be done. when you look at what Bad Bunny did, that was what you call a niche performance. It was for one specific group, and that group was not us or anybody else outside of who he was performing for. You literally looked at probably what a Bad Bunny concert would actually be. Like, that's literally what you said. And then that's why after it was done, you had Chris Brown's petty self get up on Instagram and said, y'all need me. And you know what? I'm going to say this. They been needed him.
Yes.
I said Chris Brown Ben should have been on that halftime stage. Oh, can you imagine? Now, with Chris Brown, if you know how they came out with the numbers with Bad Bunny and said, oh, his numbers was like it beat Kendrick Lamar, but then it came out that it wasn't. It actually was number 4. Now, if they came out with Chris Brown's numbers and they said he beat Kendrick Lamar, I would believe it. I would actually believe it.
I would believe that, yeah. Chris could probably do that, I ain't gonna lie. He will be up there. I ain't gonna lie. He probably be out.
Chris can perform.
He can.
Oh yeah. He definitely can.
Chris, I can. Besides Chris, I don't even know if anybody else. I can't think of another artist who actually can do that. Who can beat him or Michael Jackson.
I've seen Chris Brown a couple times in concert, and he does give a very good show. As a matter of fact, I don't know if y'all saw my weekly recap that I did this past Saturday, but it was the first story I led with. They said Chris Brown is the first solo Black American artist ever in music history to no, he not the first. He's the highest grossing solo Black American male artist when it comes to tours. His Breezy Bowl it made $295.5 million over the span of 49 shows.
Damn, almost 300 million.
Yeah. They said he sold about almost 2 million tickets for this entire tour. And here's the flip side of it. On the flip side of it, Beyonce is the highest grossing female Black American artist with 6 cities for Cowboy Carter, and she made about 250 million. So you got an FBA woman and an FBA man who are the number one with tours as far as solo artists, as far as Black Americans go.
I'm surprised, but we got the best entertainers in the world. We do. I mean, we really do. That's why Bad Bunny had to take from Kendrick, because we really do got the best. That's the only way I think they felt that his performance would even somewhat resonate or, make some sort of impact, like Kendrick, similarly to like Kendrick did, is if he stole some aspects from it. And that's, it just shows the lack of originality, because we are the best. Yeah, I believe that. I ain't even got to Google that for me to believe it. Like, for real.
I mean, 'tis what 'tis. Mm-hmm. But y'all, we made it as nauseating as that was. we made it all the way to the end. But shout out to ZZ and Afro for coming up. I definitely appreciate it. Like I said, I could have did this by myself, but it would have been nowhere near as, I guess you can say, as fun. Yeah. As it was doing it with other people that was involved. It definitely wouldn't have been as long, definitely nowhere near it. But yeah, let the people know where they can find you at. I mean, if they subscribe to me, they should definitely be subscribed to you.
Hold on. I was about to say, well, first of all, make sure you follow For the Culture. Okay.
Oh, definitely. I'll leave the link in the description.
Follow For the Culture first. Our podcast collab. Follow For the Culture. Make sure you subscribe and like that channel. But you can follow me at ZZ Rants on everything.
It's Afro Elite on everything. Okay. Except Twitter. That's a thing. It's the Afro Elite on Twitter, unfortunately. Elon Musk doesn't like me like that, so he's not letting me be Afro Elite on Twitter. Okay, I'm the Afro Elite.
The Afro. Hey, listen, that actually sounds better. It sounds more verified, because it's like, that person's not Afro Elite. I am the Afro Elite. It sounds kind of elitist a little bit, but it actually almost sounds official at the same time.
Ironically, it sounds a little elitist.
All right, y'all. But I appreciate y'all coming out. Shout out to everybody who came through, everybody in the chat, everybody in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about this. Again, make sure y'all go and follow and subscribe. my two co-hosts, my two co-pilots for the day on their individual channels, their social medias, also as well on their podcast as well. And I will talk to you all in the next one. Be safe and be one.